So let's come over to the time remap function in TransitionMaster. And this function is one of the strongest tools inside the TransitionMaster, and you can do a lot of fancy things with that. And the basic idea is to let you create over time the behavior of the transition between the source and the target layer over a Luma channel or a black and white image. And to see what happens there is, first you need some kind of animation, for example a transform. Let's do it simple, 200% offset over the x-axis. This is what we have. Okay, simple movement from left to right. And let's go to the composite mode, and here you have an output mode which is in general normal, and you have the option to go to time remap, and here you can see what inside the time remap function is going on. Okay, so this is a black and white image, and over time you can control the behavior of the transition, and this means everything which is in the black area will stay. There will be not affected by the transition, and everything which is white will be affected by the transition over time. So that means it affects the transition from white to the black on the end. Okay, let's have a look how this looks in normal. So go back to normal, and you see here nothing, because we have in time remap first to specify what we want to affect, and we want to affect the offset. Okay, so now you see, according to this black and white image, here we have the movement, here the transition affects source and target layer, and on the black area there is nothing happened. It's not affected by the transition, and you see over time it starts to affect the transition. Okay, let me get rid of this ping pong transform, don't like that. Okay, go back to time remap. So this is the remap function. You see a little red bubble here and a little green bubble here, and you can't do anything with that, and this is because in Davinci you have to switch your Windows mode from transform to OpenFX overlay, and now you've got some cool handles, and you can drag these handles to manipulate the map. And this is one thing which is an issue in Davinchi Resolve, and if you drag the handle and nothing happens on screen, go to the time remap and simply kick them, and now you have this red bubble on the handle by simply switching on and off the modify offset, and now you can see what happens there. You can manipulate that, and you see its tile, and you can see its position. And now if we switch back to normal view, you will see that the movement will happen in this area over time, in the white area, and at least at the black area on the end of the transition. So on the beginning, everything which is black will stay and is not affected, and everything which is white is fully affected, and over time it comes to it affects even more the black values. Okay, so let's see what we have. We go back to normal, and you see over time we start here in this white areas, here the transition will be affected by the time remap function, and over time we come over to the black area, and at least we affect everything of the composition. Okay, and this gives you very cool, very fancy options to play with. So here we have the transition in real time. This is very cool, and you can manipulate that also on screen. You got these handles here, and if you drag and drop the handles once more, double click that, and now you see, you can see on screen what happens if you play with the handles. And this is a very cool feature to design your own transition, your own time remap effect inside the TransitionMaster. If you get lost in anything you see, you can switch back to output time remap, and you will see the map, and manipulate that. And of course, we not only have a linear map, we of course have a radial map. And this is what you get in the time remap function. Here we go. And we have also a random noise. Here we have a fractal noise, which you can manipulate the size of the noise by dragging the handles. Okay. We have source luma. This is, we go back to time remap, this is affecting the luma channels, so everything the same behavior, white and black, and you will see the transition will start at the white areas and come over to the black areas over time. So if we go back to normal, you will see the transition start here in this white areas and then come over to the black areas until the transition is finished. Okay, you can affect the blend mode too. So here everything stays in place and it only blends on the black on the white areas, coming over to the black areas. And if you go to target luma, we will affecting the luma channels of the target layer from black to white. And let's go back to linear. So here we go. We have also the blend mode. So here everything stays, nothing blends, but on the areas here. And here we go. Okay. So this is one thing the time remap function can do. Let's go to the time remap function and let's bring these things, these handles in a straight position. Something like so, that we are quite linear. Okay, should be fine. Let's have a look. We also have a remap grid. And if you activate that, you will get this grid. And this is the way you can increase the grid cells in the length and in the height. We don't see the height because we have straight lines, but let's do it for now in this direction. So let's say we have this too much, let's say yeah, 35 will be fine. So this is the grid, okay? And this is how it looks in the remap, okay? So we have the grid and it goes over time and we have these cool lines here, okay? According to the grid count, we have the thickness of the lines here to control. But we have another cool feature, and this is smoothing. So you can smooth the result of the luma channel, and if you put the smoothing here, you will see you got these echo lines here according to our grid. Okay, so according to the grid, you got these smooth echoes, and it's also a very cool effect. Okay, so this is what we got. Okay, so if we increase these cells, we got an even smoother result and even more lines and even more echo. You can crank this up, something like so. And let's have a look how this looks like. Yeah, also very cool thing. Okay, so this is the time remap grid. We bring this back to 50. Okay, and of course you can do on the fly, you can move this around, and you will see you only are moving in up and right direction. This is because we have only one grid cell from top to bottom. If you increase this, you will see you have the same effect here. You got these steps here, these things, and you can play with these. So this is according to the count of grid cells. Especially you can see that if you have a radial thing here, let's bring the map start to here. So this is the center, and we crank this like so. Here we go. So we have these little dots here. So if we go to, let's say, 50 by 50 cells, you will see more than like steps here. And if you crank this up to 1000 by 1000, you got a perfect circle. And if you unsmooth that, you got the original result. And if you play with the cell count, you will see you got these anti-aliasing here, and you can do some fancy steps inside the grid. And this is because this is affecting the cells in height and width. Okay. And of course, you can modify different things like scale, like rotation, like modify offset, and modify the grid. So if we have a grid active, for example, and let's go to linear, and let's activate the grid, and not the grid cells. So now we got this result. So now it's affecting also the grid, and this is the final transition. Okay, let's have a look what we have if we only have the grid affected. So if we only have the grid affected, you will see only on the black areas the grid will show up, and on the rest everything stays unaffected. To showcase it even better, we get rid of this offset. And now you see the grid only shows up on the black areas. Right, cool. Okay, so hope you got the idea what the time remap function can do. And of course, you can combine these functions to the grid and the transform function. And of course, you can combine this again with the post process, which we come in the next tutorial. Thank you.